Very good morning to all of you. Hope my AV is okay. Just confirm it. My AV is okay. Okay, thank you, Abhishek. Any disturbance is there in between, please inform me. And also, somebody is trying to log in with the title as my name is. My name is. So yesterday also he has tried to log in, but I have not permitted because I have informed all the students to log in through their name and USN. If any of your classmates are trying it, so please inform them. My name is, with this name they are trying to log in. So please inform that. Okay. Yesterday we were discussing about the optimal load flow solution, isn't it? So in that one, so till this point we have studied. You can see here, that is a state variable. X is state variable, y is your control variable. However, complete y is not your control variable. A part of it will be a control variable. So x is a state variable, also called as dependent variable, and is given by this one for each PQ bus. So what are the unknowns for PQ bus? It is Vi and delta you have to evaluate. So that is should be represented in vector form. And for each PV bus, obviously you have to evaluate delta I. So the parameters which you have to calculate or evaluate are your state variables. As I said, state variables are the smallest set of variables which determines the complete behavior of the system. Understood? So that is nothing but it is dependent variables. So these variables are dependent on other parameters. Understood? So that's why they are known as dependent variables. The other variable is y is control variables, also called as independent variables. Independent variables. That means independent variables means what? Already the values which are given. While representing this controllable variable, you have to include slack bus powers also. That is slack bus also you have to include it. So for slack bus, you have to find out voltage, magnitude, and an angle. Understood. And obviously for PQ bus, what are the given values? Pi, Qi. So those things are your independent variables because those values has been given. For PV bus, P and V are given. So Pi, Vi are independent. So they are given values. Understood. And for slack bus also V1, see here it is not Vi. Be careful while representing these parameters. It is V1 delta 1. So X is state variable. What are the variables which you are going to evaluate it? That is dependent variables. Y variables means which are independent variables already given values. So in this one, so you have to consider again this Y is partitioned into two submatrices U and P, in which U is controllable variable and P is your uncontrollable variable. This is what we have said, and in the above formulation, the objective function must include slack bus power. So that's why we are included the slack bus also here. And the vector of independent variables y can be partitioned, as I said. U is a controllable variable which is varied to achieve the optimum value or minimum value of the objective function. P is a uncontrollable variable, that is it is a fixed. Control parameters may be voltage magnitudes on PV buses or generation at buses with controllable power, etc., or transformer tap settings, etc. So these are your control parameters. That means U is control variables. That is, it may be voltage magnitudes at PV buses, or it may be generation PGI at buses with controllable power. So by controlling, changing the excitation, or by opening the steam valve, by adjusting the steam valve, we can adjust the PGI or transformer tap settings. So these are the few controllable variables. So with this one, the optimization problem can be redefined. Till this point, we have discussed in yesterday's class. Now let us see the optimization problem. We have seen it already. The minimization of your total generating cost or total production cost there. So that is minimized subjected to some constraint, subjected to some constraints. Understood? So your aim, your goal is to write your examination. Your goal is to write your examination. To write the examination, so you have to satisfy minimum requirement, that is constraints. What is that one? First constraint is your attendance constraint. So minimum you should have 85%, isn't it? So that is one constraint. Further, so it can be controlled if you have 75%. What is the other constraint? The CIA marks, internal marks. So you should score minimum marks, isn't it? So these two constraints, if you satisfy, then only you are allowed to write the examination, main examination, isn't it? So that means what? You are allowed to write the examination. So that means it is a necessary condition. It is a necessary condition. That means to write the examination, you have to satisfy these conditions are nothing but necessary conditions. But these are not sufficient condition to clear the examination. These are not sufficient condition to clear the examination. Understood? So after writing the examination, you have to perform well. So in order to pass the examination with good marks. Understood? So that is sufficient condition. But what is a necessary condition to pass the or clear the subject with flying colors? First, you have to write the examination. So to write the examination, some conditions you have to satisfy. So these are the necessary conditions, but it is not sufficient to clear the subject, isn't it? So to clear the subject, you have to perform well in the examination. That is your sufficient condition. What are the sufficient condition? You have to answer 5 questions. You have to answer 5 questions. This is a one sufficient condition, and answering these 5 questions in a correct way. So this is your sufficient conditions. Understood? So you know, now you know what is a necessary condition and what is the sufficient condition. The difference between necessary condition and sufficient condition. Okay. Let me permit the late comers are there waiting. Okay. Okay. So now you know the difference between necessary conditions and sufficient conditions, because this is very important while applying our Kuntakar conditions. We have seen in the economic dispatch Lagrangian multipliers, isn't it? So in that one we applied Kuntakar conditions. So those Kuntakar conditions are necessary conditions, not sufficient. Hope you have followed it. That I am going to cover it here in the next slide. So that's why I given a brief idea before starting that one, necessary conditions. So now the optimization problem can be restated as, instead of C of PGI we have taken it, isn't it? C of PGI we have taken it. But here, that is PGI means only one variable. But here we are having two variables, X comma U variables. State variable and U is your controllable variable. Understood? So these two things, variables, we have to include it in our cost function. With this cost function has to be minimized. So this is your new optimization objective function. Now this, if you want to achieve this objective function, that means if you want to clear the examination, you have to satisfy some conditions, that is constraints. Now subjected to the constraints, we have to see it. Subject to the constraint, f of, that is function of x comma u comma p. What is u comma p? Is your y. U comma p is your y. That is your controllable variables. In that controllable variable, it is divided into two submatrices, U and P. U is controllable, P is uncontrollable variable. That is, it is fixed. Understood? So therefore, if you want to achieve this objective function, so you have to satisfy this equality constraint. You have to satisfy this equality constraint, that is f of x comma u comma p is equal to 0. Understood? So that means this is nothing but it is a function of x comma y, state variable and control variable. Control variable again consisting of up, so is equal to 0. This is the constraint. So first we will take it only one constraint, that is equality constraint. Then we will treat the inequality constraints. What are the inequality constraints? It may be greater than or equal to or less than or equal to constraints. So these are inequality constraints. So we will treat these inequality constraints later. So here we will consider only the equality constraint, that is f of x comma y, or y is replaced with u comma p is equal to 0. So first we have considered equality constraint with the objective function. So to solve this optimization problem, so we have to define the Lagrangian function like we have seen in module 3, isn't it? So this objective function, if you want to solve, so what you have to do, we have to define the Lagrangian multiplier. So what is that Lagrangian multiplier? You know that one. Lagrangian multiplier of the variables, you have to define it. Lagrangian variables of all the variables x, u, p is equal to, how we are defined, please recall it, the cost function plus the Lagrangian multiplier. Lagrangian multiplier function we have taken it, isn't it? So therefore Lagrangian multiplier, Lagrangian function, it is a function of x, u, p is equal to your cost function, that is your objective function, plus your constraint. This is your constraint, isn't it? F of x comma u comma p, objective function plus constraint. The constraint is multiplied with lambda, in our previous case, module 3. That is known as Lagrangian multiplier. But here we are doing it, this constraint is multiplied with lambda transpose. Lambda transpose. This lambda transpose is a vector of Lagrangian multipliers. So lambda transpose is a vector consisting of Lagrangian multipliers. Please remember that one. Here we have taken transpose. Earlier we have not taken in module 3 while doing economic dispatch, just we have multiplied that one with lambda. Why? Because their dimension, you know that the basics of your, what is this one? Multiplication. If you are multiplying two matrices, so it has to satisfy the row into column of the second matrix should be same, then only you can multiply. So in order to satisfy that one, so this we are representing it lambda transpose. If you are representing lambda, because it's a vector, then it may not satisfy that multiplication. So multiplication may not be possible with these three variables. So that's why here we are writing lambda transpose, so that multiplication of these things is possible. Because lambda I represented, it's a vector of Lagrange multipliers. Hope you understood the difference here. So whenever you are applying Lagrangian, so Lagrangian of all the variables is equal to objective function plus the constraint, that is equality constraint we have represented, no, is multiplied with your Lagrangian multiplier. In this case, we are restating it. That's why it is lambda transpose. Hope you understood this one. Now let us see. Lambda is the vector of Lagrangian multipliers of same dimension as f of x comma u comma p. That's what I said. Now Kuntakar condition. Now that's what I said. I have explained it already. What is the difference between necessary conditions and sufficient conditions? Usually, I don't know whether you have studied this one or not in control systems. So in state space analysis, so I don't know whether that chapter is there or not for you. So there you might have studied in detail about these necessary conditions and sufficient conditions. However, here necessary conditions means I have explained with an example what is meant by necessary conditions. Sufficient conditions are different. So now in this our problem, so the necessary conditions is required to minimize the unconstrained Lagrangian function. Now when you define Lagrangian function, so this becomes unconstrained function. This becomes unconstrained function, Lagrangian function. Now we have to minimize this unconstrained Lagrangian function by applying Kuntakar condition. KT means your KUHN. K means KUHN. Kuntakar, TUCKER. Kuntakar conditions. So by applying these Kuntakar conditions, so these are all optimization methods. In detail, if you want to learn this one, in DP Kothari modern power system, it is available in appendix. So you can go through that one. What do you mean by Kuntakar conditions, how it has to be applied. Now it is for your extra knowledge, you can go through this appendix, which has been given at the end of the textbook. So now let us see what are the necessary conditions for this one. For that one, you have to apply this one. So what you have to do, you have to take the partial derivative of your Lagrangian function with respect to these variables. You have to take this Lagrangian function, partial derivative of this Lagrangian function with respect to the variables x, u, p. Okay, first let us take partial derivative of this Lagrangian function with respect to variable x. So this one. So whenever you are taking this variable x, so because x is variable is existing here, x variable is existing here. So c of x, that means it is dou c by dou x, partial derivative. It's a variable. X is a state variable, isn't it? So therefore it is first order partial derivative of the cost function. So here if still if for more clear, you can write c of x comma u. Here you can write it dou L of x comma u comma p if you want, otherwise not required. Plus lambda transpose into this one. When you're taking derivative, so obviously you know that mathematics, from the basics of mathematics. So when you're taking derivative of any two matrices, so this becomes lambda because we are taking it with respect to x, f of x comma u comma p. So x consisting of this function is having x. So therefore, what is the first order derivative? Dou f2 dou x transpose, because we have to satisfy when we are taking derivative. This is from basics of your mathematics. So transpose, lambda transpose becomes lambda. So this is the partial derivative with respect to x we have taken, equate it to 0. Take the partial derivative and equate it to 0. We call this as equation 4, because 1, 2, 3 already we have defined it in the earlier explanation. Now what is the next Kuntakar condition? What is the next necessary condition, Kuntakar condition? Take the partial derivative of this one with respect to the next variable u, isn't it? Now let us take this one with respect to u. So is this cost function consisting of variable u? Yes. So therefore it is a variable. So you take partial derivative of this one, dou c with respect to dou u, plus again the same logic we are applying it here. Is this function consisting of variable u? Yes, it is a variable, isn't it, which is controllable. So therefore dou f to dou u transpose, lambda transpose becomes lambda equated to 0, call that as equation 5. Now next equation I want to write it. Next equation I want to write it. What will be the next equation? Can anyone tell? These are the Kuntakar conditions. So what you have to do, these Kuntakar conditions are nothing but necessary conditions. You have to take first order partial derivative of your Lagrangian function. So this is our Lagrangian function. First order partial derivatives of all the variables which are specified. Now what will be the next equation? Can anyone tell? You can unmute yourself and you can tell if it is difficult to write it in the chat box. What will be the next equation? Next equation. What will be the next equation? So necessary conditions of Kuntakar states that you have to take partial derivative of your Lagrangian function with respect to all the variables specified. Now already there are three variables x comma u comma p. X u we have represented equation 4 and 5. Partial derivative using p. Okay. So Abhishek has told that we have to take the first order partial derivative of this function with respect to p. Fine. That is right. Exactly right. But what is the answer like on RHS side? After taking partial derivative, I represented these two equations, isn't it? Now, partial derivative of this Lagrangian function with respect to p, what you are going to get? That is what I want. That is what I want. What? Anyone can unmute yourself and you can discuss. No problem, not an issue. Sushumna has given, Abhishek has given. Okay, okay, okay. Dou f to dou p power of t into lambda. No, not exactly right, Sushumna. Abhishek has given. Okay, Abhishek, you told that C term will not be there. C means cost function. Cost function will not be there. Yes, that is the right answer. But what is the answer? What will be the answer? That's what I am asking. Abhishek told that cost term will not be there. Okay, let me explain it without wasting any time. Now, this Lagrangian function, we have to take it with respect to p. Now, when you're taking partial derivative with respect to p, is this cost function consisting of variable p? No, isn't it? So therefore, this term will not come into picture. F of x, Tushar has given f of x comma u comma p. Okay, very good. Okay, this term will not be there because there is no p variable. Now what happens to this one? What happens to this variable here? P is there, isn't it? So P is there. Now what you are going to do? Some of them they said that dou f to dou P, dou f to dou P we have to take it. Now first let us see. This is the answer given by Tushar. So dou L with respect to P we have taken. So why we have to take? Should we take with respect to P here? Because here the answers what your people have given is a mixed one, is a mixed one. Understood? So that means what? Here x u p. Why we are not taken partial derivative of this Lagrangian function with respect to p? Can anyone tell? Why we have not considered the partial derivative of this Lagrangian function with respect to p as a necessary Kuntakar condition? Can anyone tell? Then I will explain 6. Can anyone tell? We are not considering the first order partial derivative of Lagrangian function with respect to p. Why? Yeah. Saksham Sharma has given it. Very good. The right answer. So means p is what? X is a state variable. U is a controllable variable. P is what? Uncontrollable variable. That means it is fixed. It is fixed. That means it is constant. It is not a variable. So it is fixed variable. So we should not take anything with respect to P. That is the reason we have not taken the Lagrangian partial derivative with respect to p. Then xup are the variables. Apart from xup, what are the other variables we are having it? The lambda. Lambda is a variable here. Again, consisting of vector of Lagrange multipliers. Lambda will vary. Understood? So, therefore, you take partial derivative of this Lagrangian function with respect to lambda. So, when you take it, so you will get f of x comma u comma p is equal to 0. This is the answer given by Tushar, but I don't know whether he has applied this condition or not. Anyways, f of x comma u comma p is equal to 0. Is it clear now? There are x, u, p, three variables. Another variable is your lambda. We have to take first order partial derivatives of all these four variables. X we have taken, u we have taken, p we are not considering because it is uncontrollable variable. It is fixed, that means it is constant. And lambda is a vector of Lagrange multipliers. So you have to take partial derivative with respect to lambda. So you are getting this equation. So therefore, please keep in mind all these 4, 5, 6 equations. These are your Kuntakar conditions. They may ask, write the necessary Kuntakar condition to minimize the unconstrained Lagrangian function in all of the competitive examinations and public sector PSU examinations, etc. GATE. So they will be asking these things. So please remember this 4, 5, 6. Understood? These are the Kuntakar conditions which are required to minimize the unconstrained Lagrangian function. Unconstrained Lagrangian function. First we have taken constrained optimization problem, isn't it? What is the only one constraint we have considered? Only equality constraint. See, please remember, now we are treating only the equality constraint. F of x comma u comma p is equal to 0. We have not yet considered inequality constraints. We are going to treat these inequality constraints later. Okay, 4, 5, 6, please remember these equations. Now, this equation 6 obviously the same as your equality constraint. That's what I said. What I said is that cost term is not involved. Whatever we have to differentiate is f of x. So, okay, that's what. Anyway, that's okay. Now it is over, Tushar. If it is clear from your end, it is no problem. Absolutely no problem. Equation 6, you see, it is similar to your equality constraint. What we have defined it. You see, what is your equality constraint? This is your object. This is your equality constraint, isn't it? So your equation 6 is similar to your equality constraint. Understood? Now dou f by dou x here. Can anyone? Okay, already I have written it here. I would have asked dou f to dou x. Already we have studied in Newton-Raphson method. That's what I said. This module 4 is a combination of your load flow solution and economic dispatch. Understood? So that's why the problem is known as optimal load flow solution. Clear? So dou f by dou x, this term is called as Jacobian matrix. Similar to your NR method. In NR method, we have developed Jacobian matrix and how to evaluate the Jacobian elements J1, J2, J3, J4. Also we have developed, isn't it? The Jacobian elements evaluation. Also, I have explained it. If you are not understood, so please again all the videos are there. So please go through that one. And already I have uploaded module 3 lecture notes, whatever I taught you in the class. So that already I have uploaded in a Google Classroom. So still only 59 students are there. Still almost 7 students are missing. So those students who have not registered, it is their problem if they are not getting any material. And your test will be on 9th, 10th, 11th. I think you have received the timetable also. That is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Portions is your first test. Portions, that is first assignment. Also this time, still there may, like similar to last semester, 5 questions you may have to answer, still not yet finalized. Now only I am telling it so that you can prepare yourself. 5 questions may be given. You may be asked to write all the 5. Out of 5 questions, 3 or 4 questions from your given assignment. 1 or 2 questions from outside your assignment. Outside assignments means it is not outside syllabus. It is within the syllabus. Some other questions may be asked. So this is the procedure. So this is the thing. So that's why I'm telling it. So still it is not confirmed. So once it is confirmed, it will be informed to you. 5 questions you have to answer. So 3 or 4 questions from the assignment and 1 or 2 questions may be from outside the assignment. So once it is confirmed, it will be informed to you by the respective class teachers. Okay, fine. So this is your Jacobian matrix, dou f to dou x. Okay. Now equations 4, 5, 6 are nonlinear algebraic equations and can only be solved iteratively. Clear? 4, 5, 6 are your non-linear algebraic equations. So these can be solved iteratively. Once again, we have seen so many iterative algorithms or techniques in load flow solution. Gauss-Seidel, Newton-Raphson method, fast decoupled method, etc. Isn't it? So these equation 4, 5, 6 are solved using nonlinear equations. Iterative method. So what is the one simple iterative method? We will be using it to solve this equation 4, 5, 6. So that is known as steepest descent method, also called as gradient method, also called as gradient method. Is it clear? So simple but efficient iterative scheme. So that is known as steepest descent method, also called as gradient method. So this, what do you mean by gradient method? What is this optimization technique? Again, this is available in the appendix of Modern Power System Analysis by D.P. Kothari. You can go through that gradient method. But whatever is required for treating this unconstrained function, so I will be explaining it here in detail. If you want how this gradient method or steepest descent method is applied, so that you can go through that appendix. And if you get any doubts in that appendix, you can ask me. Okay. Now the basic technique is to adjust your control variable. Understood? So in this gradient method, so what is the controllable variable here? What is the control variable is u. T is uncontrolled variable. X is state variable. X is state variable. That means it is dependent variable. Understood? So only this independent variable, in that one, u alone is controllable. So as to move from one feasible solution in the point of direction of steepest descent, that is negative gradient, to a new feasible solution point with a lower objective function value. Is it clear? So the overall this gradient method, what it will do, we are going to vary or adjust this controllable variable so that we can move from one feasible solution to the other feasible solution, so as to minimize your objective function value. But while doing this one, we are going to move in the negative gradient direction. That means in the direction of steepest descent we are doing it. That is negative gradient we are using it. That is your negative gradient method. Okay. Now, the computational procedure for the gradient method with relevant details. Let us see what is the procedure in gradient method. So therefore, in order to solve this equation 4, 5, 6 or non-linear algebraic equation, these are to be solved using iterative methods. So such iterative method which is used, which is efficient method, is steepest descent method, also called as gradient method. Understood? Now the basic technique is, in gradient method, is to adjust your controllable variable. What is a controllable variable here in our case? U. So that we are going to move from one feasible solution point to the another feasible point, new solution, so that the value of objective function is minimized. And we are moving this one in the negative gradient direction. Negative gradient direction. Okay, that is your gradient method. Now let us see what is the computational procedure for this gradient method. Now first you have to assume this control variable. Step 1, assume some control variable u, that is initial value of u, that is your control variable, like u is equal to u naught. Assume u is equal to u naught. Assume u is equal to some initial value. So this is u naught. Happens to be u naught. Okay. Initial guess, you can assume it, u is equal to u naught. That is the first step. With this initial value of u naught, now what you have to do? Find the feasible solution. What is feasible solution? How to determine feasible solution? By performing load flow solutions. You see here how we are combining the economic dispatch with our load flow solution. If you want to solve economic dispatch problem, before that one you have to perform load flow equations. That means you have to solve the load flow equations. Understood? So find a feasible load flow solution from equation 6. So what is the equation 6 here? That equality 6, 4, 5, 6 I said. F of x comma u comma p is equal to 0 by NR iterative method. So solve that one. That is your power balance equation. That's what we have taken it in NR method. Here it is equation 6. So find the feasible load flow solution from equation 6, solving that one by NR iterative method. You know how to solve the equation using NR iterative method. Already you have studied. So using NR method, obtain the load flow solution by assuming u is equal to u naught. This method successfully improves the solution x as follows. What do you mean by x? Is a state variable. Understood? That means what? It is a dependent variable. It depends on other values. So when you found with this initial value of u naught, so you got some feasible load flow solution by using NR method. Now with this solution, it successfully improves the solution x by x is equal to, you know that one. In the each iteration, we will be updating it. X of r plus 1 is equal to xr plus delta x. We have seen this one in NR method, isn't it? In the next iteration, x of r plus 1 is equal to xr, previous iteration value, plus the change in value of that particular value, that is delta x. So this is how it improves. Now step 3, solve equation 4. What is 4 equation? That is a first order derivative with respect to variable x. So that you have to take it. Solve that one. Now this is your equation 7, isn't it? So what is equation 4? Let me check here. Equation 4. So this is equation 4, isn't it? So from this one, what is lambda is equal to? Lambda is equal to minus of this thing. So then inverse of this one you are going to get from this equation 4. So recall that one. So solving equation 4, so this is what you are going to get. Lambda value from equation 4, we are going to get this value. Is it clear? So then what we have to do, now substitute this value. So again I am writing it, that lambda value from that equation, whatever we are getting it. Is it clear? Any doubts here? This is the lambda value from equation 4 I have represented. So that's why in step 4, so it has been given, insert lambda from equation 7 into equation 5. For your convenient purpose, the equation 5 again I have written it here. Again I have written it here. Now you got the lambda value, and this equation you are numbered it as a 7. So substitute this lambda value in this equation 5. Replace this lambda by this value. Now this resultant value, after substituting this value of lambda, is known as your gradient value. Remember, it is known as your gradient value. So therefore, that is gradient is represented by the that is inverted triangle L. Understood? So this is how it is represented, known as gradient of Lagrangian function. Gradient of Lagrangian function. So this term will become a gradient of Lagrangian function represented by this way, is equal to dou c, same function. Understood? Same function we are writing. Why? When this function, that is equation 5, becomes gradient, after replacing this lambda value with this value, it will become gradient. Before substituting lambda, it is not a gradient, it is just a first order partial derivative. Is it clear? After substituting the lambda only, so you are going to become gradient of your Lagrangian function. So what is it? Is gradient or first order derivative. Now it may be noted that for computing the gradient, this one, the Jacobian, already we have defined it. What is Jacobian in our equation? What is Jacobian here? Dou f2 dou x in equation 4 is already known from the optimal load flow solution, isn't it? That is step 2. What you have done step 2? You have performed a load flow solution using NR method. That means you got a solution by NR method. Already solution is available. Solution is available means in NR method Jacobian elements are available. So this you know that one. J is known to you. Dou f to dou x is already known from your step 2. Okay. Hope you are following it these steps. Step 5 is, if this gradient becomes 0, that means it lies within the tolerance. It lies within the specified limits. Then you stop at this point. Then you can take that value as minimum value. Understood? So if gradient value becomes 0, then it indicates that values are within the prescribed tolerances. So therefore, the minimum has been reached. Fine, stop it at this point. If gradient becomes 0, the values are within the specified limits. So the minimum value of your objective function has been reached. So stop. Otherwise, that means if gradient is not equal to 0, that means it has violated the limits. It has violated the limits. Maybe it has violated the lower limit or the upper limit. That inequality constraints we are not talking about here. Otherwise, so find a new set of control variable. Find a new set of control variable. How we have started this iterative method, gradient method? First, we have assumed the control variable u is equal to u naught. Some value we have assumed. Then second step, we have solved the load flow solution, isn't it? So like that, we have moved on 3, 4, 5. So fifth step, we are checking whether we have reached minimum value or not by checking your gradient value. If it is not, if you have not reached the minimum value, then what you have to do? Again, go to step 1. I can say go to step 1. So there, step 1, again you find out new set of control variable. That means u. new value of u you have to find out. So how to get the new value of u? Now you see, u new is equal to u volt. What is your u volt? U naught. Here u volt is what? U naught plus the change in the control variable delta u, isn't it? So this updation of any variable you have studied in load flow studies. In each iteration, how it is to be updated. So u new is equal to u old plus delta u. Call this as equation A. Find a new set of control variable. This. So now after this one, where delta u is equal to minus alpha into gradient of Lagrangian function, minus where delta u, how to get this delta u change in the control variable? It is minus alpha into gradient L. Gradient L you are getting it here. Gradient L you are getting it here, isn't it? It is not 0. That's why you are going to step 6. So therefore delta, that is gradient value, you are getting it. Now minus alpha we are getting it here. Delta is equal to minus alpha into gradient L. Now what is this alpha? Now new term we are getting it. So what is that alpha? How to get that value alpha? We will see it here. Here delta u is a step in the negative direction of the gradient. Here delta u is a step in the negative direction of the gradient. That's why we have shown negative. Understood? Because negative steepest descent, negative gradient, that is the procedure we are following it, steepest descent method, isn't it? So here delta u is a step in the negative direction of the gradient. That's why negative sign has been represented. The step size is adjusted by the positive scalar function alpha. See this, we are the gradient, we are moving in the direction of negative gradient, that's why negative sign. Now how to get this step size of delta u is obtained by using the step size of alpha. How to get this alpha? There are so many methods are there that I will explain it later. Now steps 1 to 5 are straightforward and no computational problems, isn't it? 1 to 5. So that means 1 to 5. These are direct computational formulas. Only thing is here you are having some problem. Why you are having a problem? Say because you have to select the alpha value. You have to select alpha value. Otherwise, till step 5, it is a just computational state problems. You can find it. Step 6 is the critical part, where the choice of alpha is very, very important. Understood? How to select? If you are selecting a too small value of alpha, it will guarantee the convergence, but it slows down the rate of convergence. But it slows down the rate of convergence. That means it is too small value of alpha. It guarantees. Suppose if you want to go from say DSA team to Kanakpura. Understood? So Kanakpura, if you want to go, so what you do, if you take a small steps, that means for each kilometer, you will be asking the directions. Nowadays, it is the Google Maps, etc. is there. You forget about all those things. And even Google Maps also, after completing 1 kilometer, you will be asking in which direction, still how many kilometers are there. Again, after another 1 kilometer, you will be asking another after. So this is a very small. Suppose if you are asking, after reaching 10 kilometers, if you are asking somebody, that means too large value. Then another 10 kilometers, if you are asking for a direction, then what happens? You may reach the destination, but oscillations will be there, isn't it? You might have taken wrong direction. Again, you may have to come back and take the right track, etc. and all those things. When it will happen? When you are taking a long step. That means 10 kilometers. Instead of that one, if you are taking a small step, say 1 kilometer, etc. So then it is assured that you are going to reach your destination Kanakpura. But how fast you can go? So you will take more time, because each kilometer you keep on asking, you are wasting time there. So convergence you will reach, but rate of convergence gets slowed down, isn't it? So that is the meaning of this one. Two small values of alpha guarantee the convergence, but it slows down. too high value causes oscillations around the minimum, isn't it? So if you are selecting high value of alpha, obviously you may go back, you may deviate from the actual route. Finally, you will reach, but oscillations will be there. So that's why you have to select this alpha value properly. Hope it is now time up. So thank you one and all. So tomorrow I will continue your class.